Welcome to the Story Cafe. In today's video, we dive deep into Mockingjay, the thrilling and emotional final installment of the Hunger Games series, where war, betrayal, heartbreak, and unbreakable courage collide. Katniss Everdeen's journey is far from over. In this chapter, she becomes the blazing symbol of the rebellion, the Mockingjay. Darkness of war, sparks of love, and a relentless fight for humanity. We bring you the complete summary of Mockingjay, capturing every twist and turn of this epic tale. So, let's begin this gripping adventure together. All around her, there was nothing but ash, smoke, and silence. Katniss Everdeen stood among the ruins of District 12, her home, her family, her memories, all reduced to rubble. What remained? Everything had turned to dust and flames. The capital's ruthless bombing had destroyed District 12 completely. Only a handful of survivors remained, seeking refuge in the secret rebel stronghold of District 13. Katniss's body was alive, but inside, she felt shattered, broken beyond repair. She wandered through the ruins of her old house, now just debris and dust. Beneath the earth lay buried her childhood photos, the smile of her sister Prim, her mother's gentle songs. Peeta was gone, captured by the capital, imprisoned beyond reach. But arriving in District 13 brought a new kind of pressure. In President Coin's eyes, Katniss was no longer just a girl. She was a symbol, a flame of rebellion. One name, the Mockingjay. Katniss never wanted this role. She never wished to be a hero. But when she thought of Prim's innocent eyes and Peeta's face, she knew there was no turning back now. Slowly, she took the badge in her hand. A bird, the Mockingjay, a symbol that would become the reflection of the nation's hope. Alma Coin, the president of District 13, a stern and strategic leader, approached Katniss with a request. She wanted Katniss to become the face of the rebellion. But Katniss did not agree right away. She knew this meant becoming the symbol of a war. She understood there would be politics, propaganda, and plenty of theatrics behind the scenes. So she set conditions. Not just one, but many. Peeta must be safely returned. All other tributes held captive by the capital must be freed. Her sister Prim must never be used as a pawn in the war. And most importantly, everything Katniss said had to be in her own words. After these terms were accepted, Katniss officially became the symbol of the rebellion. The rebels began planning. They would create propaganda videos showing Katniss as brave, fearless, and standing strong against the capital. But Katniss knew that standing in front of a camera was not the same as standing on a battlefield. Still, she prepared herself for the fight ahead. The day of the first video shoot arrived. Katniss was dressed like a warrior, standing in front of a green screen. She was supposed to look fierce, recite scripted lines, and show anger. But all felt like an act. Katniss couldn't bring herself to say the words with conviction. The camera made her feel like a liar. Director Krumbiesha and the rebel leaders realized something had to change. They needed Katniss to experience real war. So they sent her to a hospital where wounded people were being treated. For the first time, Katniss truly felt the harsh reality. This war was stealing lives, tearing families apart. Suddenly, the sky darkened with capital warplanes. Bombs rained down on the hospital. Screams, smoke, blood, shattered bodies, chaos everywhere. Katniss stood amidst the destruction, tears streaming down her face. The camera kept rolling. She shouted, furious and raw, "You have killed our children. Now listen, Capital, play with fire, but never forget fire can burn." That one scene changed everything. The propaganda video spread throughout the districts. People wept, sang songs of rebellion, and flames of uprising ignited everywhere. Katniss was no longer just a symbol. She had become a truth, a fire. Katniss was now the Mockingjay. The rebel propaganda videos had turned her into the face of the uprising. But the war wasn't just outside, it was raging inside her mind too. Day by day, she realized no one was truly safe in this war. The enemy was not only the capital. It could be someone from her own side as well. Every step she took had become part of the propaganda machine. One early morning, Katniss was startled awake by the blaring sirens in District 13, warning of an incoming airstrike. She was hurried into a secure bunker. Outside, Capitol planes roared overhead, raining destruction. Yet, amid this terror, President Coin's team insisted Katniss stand in front of the cameras. She had to push through her fear and keep filming. Katniss was shocked. People were dying, children were crying, and they wanted more shots. Behind the camera stood Gale, her old friend, completely changed. He was now a ruthless strategist, crafting deadly traps to wound the Capitol. One day, Katniss asked him, "Does it not hurt you to plan killing people like this?" Gale was silent for a moment. His eyes burned with fire. He said, "If we don't kill them, they will kill us. War is not a game for the faint-hearted, Katniss." His answer unsettled her deeply. She wondered, am I really on the right side? Are the people around me still human? Meanwhile, the Capitol was striking back fiercely. For every rebel video, they released a counter one. And the star of these videos was Peeta Mellark. Katniss froze when she saw Peeta on the screen. He pleaded, "Stop the rebellion. The Capitol wants peace. War only brings death." But there was something strange in his eyes. Katniss realized he was not himself. He spoke under pressure, as if reciting lines forced upon him. The boy she had loved for so long was now broken completely. The rebels declared, "See, Peeta has become a puppet of the Capitol." But Katniss refused to believe he was a traitor. She knew Peeta was still alive somewhere inside. They just had to free him, even from within the Capitol's grasp. Night had fallen deep and dark. Inside the safe bunker of District 13, Katniss sat silently. Outside, the war raged on, but inside her, a different battle was being fought, a battle with her broken heart. Then the announcement came. The rebels had executed a secret operation inside the Capitol and brought back 4 prisoners. Among them, Peeta Mellark. Katniss's heart trembled and shook. Before her eyes appeared Peeta's familiar smile, his gentle voice whispering, "When you sing, Katniss, even the birds stop to listen." She ran to the medical unit. With every ounce of strength, she rushed toward the boy she had burned for in her soul every day. But what she saw broke her completely. Peeta sat in a corner, his face dry, his eyes full of fear, his expression unfamiliar. When Katniss approached and whispered, "Peeta, it's me," he suddenly stood and shoved her away. His eyes blazed with fire. He roared, "You're a monster. You lied. You fooled everyone." Katniss collapsed to the floor. Security rushed in. Peeta struggled violently, as if unable to stop himself. The doctors explained. The Capitol didn't just imprison Peeta. They had used a terrifying procedure called hijacking on his mind. They poisoned and twisted his memories. Now, he saw Katniss as the enemy. Katniss was stunned. This was the boy who had risked everything to save her from the flames. The boy who had protected her with his very life in the Hunger Games. Now, he had become her greatest threat. Katniss wept silently. Her tears were not just for lost love. They were tears of helplessness, of failure. She was told Peeta would undergo therapy step by step, but no one knew if he would ever truly come back, if he could ever be the same again. That night, she sat alone by the window, thinking, can I really save them all? Or will this war slowly steal every piece of my love away? For the first time, she understood. This war was not just Capitol versus rebels. It was love versus hate, truth versus poison. Days pass. Katniss sees Peeta every day. But Peeta is no longer the Peeta she knew. He is now a young man trapped in false memories. His eyes filled with fear, deceit, and death whenever they meet hers. The doctors slowly show him pictures of familiar faces, play old videos, trying to piece together his fractured memory. One day, Katniss sits down in front of Peeta herself, keeping a cautious distance. She says, "You once told me, when I laugh, you lose yourself. Do you remember that?" Peeta stares at her. In his eyes, hesitation, confusion, and a strange anger flicker. He whispers, Are you some horrific memory someone made me carry?" Katniss freezes. Silent tears fall down her cheeks. Nearby, Finnick speaks gently. Some memories are like poison, but within poison, there is sometimes a cure. It will take time, Katniss. Just hold on. Meanwhile, doubts grow inside Katniss's mind. Every day, she looks into the mirror. A girl who is now a symbol, whose face is propaganda. She must smile, give speeches, even when she doesn't feel it, look people in the eyes and say, "We fight because we want freedom." But she herself doesn't know. What does freedom truly mean? She wonders, is President Coin really different from Capitol? Or is she just the old ruler behind a new mask? Meanwhile, Gale grows colder and harsher by the day. His new plan: if Capitol children try to find shelter, they will be lured with false food. Then bombs will fall. Katniss gasps. "You used to know what mercy was, just like me. Why have you become so hardened now?" Gale's eyes are sharp. He replies, "We are at war. No one wins with mercy." Katniss realizes, in this war, the people around her are just changing shapes of the enemy. No one is the person they once were. Peeta is a poison memory. Gale is a ruthless force. And she herself? Just a wounded symbol. Katniss is no longer just the symbol of the rebellion. She is a warrior. She decides that showing her face in videos is not enough. She will take part in the battle herself. A special mission team is formed. It includes Katniss, Gale, Finnick, Boggs, the leader, Peeta, still recovering, and a few other skilled fighters. Their secret mission: to infiltrate the Capitol and assassinate President Snow. But this is no ordinary mission. The capital city has become a massive Hunger Games arena. Yes, every street, every corner, every building is rigged with deadly traps. Boggs, the team's commander, holds a hollow device, which detects the traps. But not all traps are detected. Some are secretly activated under President Snow's direct orders. The team suffers their first loss. One member falls victim to a trap of liquid fire, burning alive right before their eyes. Katniss watches, realizing this war is no longer just a battlefield. It is a massive psychological and deadly game. Peeta sometimes wakes from the poison in his memories. Once he tries to say, "Kill me. I'm a traitor. I'm dangerous." But Katniss holds his hand and says, "You're still fighting. That's the difference." At one point, Boggs falls into a trap and is severely wounded. In his last moments, he hands the hollow device to Katniss and whispers, "You're the real leader. President Coin won't want you to kill Snow. Be careful." Katniss is stunned. She starts doubting even President Coin. The team moves on, but as they enter a building, an explosion rocks the place. One member is half-burned. The group shrinks. Fear grows. The entire capital feels like the belly of a beast, where even breathing risks triggering a trap. Finnick once says, "This is the true face of the Hunger Games. The capital has turned its own land into a deadly game, and we are the players." Katniss stays silent. She realizes this war is not just about killing enemies. It is a fight to conquer her own beliefs, love, and fear. As Katniss and her team navigate the tangled alleys and narrow passages of the capital, they realize every step they take balances precariously on the edge of death. The traps are relentless, cunningly engineered, ready to claim a life at the slightest mistake. Suddenly, one of their own is lost, swallowed by an explosion hidden beneath the earth. The team's hearts shatter, but the war offers no pause. Eventually, they reach an ancient park, a place seemingly forgotten in the city's chaos. But there a massive explosion rocks the ground. Severe injuries follow, and even Finnick is caught in the danger's grasp. Katniss asks herself silently, "Am I here for revenge, or for someone's freedom? What place do I truly hold in this war?" Around her, the people she trusted are changing. Gale's bitterness deepens with each passing day, and Peeta fights a slow battle to reclaim his stolen memories. The harsh reality of war shatters Katniss's spirit, pushing her to face the turmoil raging within. Amid the smoke and blood of the explosion, Katniss dreams of something different. A peaceful world where her little sister Prim smiles. And war is just a distant nightmare. But before that light of hope can shine, she must once again face the brutal fight of life and death. Amid the chaos of war raging inside the capital, a brief moment of hope flickers. Children, trapped in the horrors of this merciless conflict, begin to emerge from the gates, one after another. A sudden glimpse of love, humanity, and light in the darkness. Katniss watches with tears streaming down her face, feeling for the first time in long days that perhaps the war could finally be ending. But then, in front of President Snow's palace, a devastating explosion shatters the fragile hope. The blast takes Katniss's beloved little sister, Prim, and with her, a piece of Katniss's heart is irreparably torn away. Her grief and fury overwhelm her, blinding her with pain and rage. With a fierce vow, she declares, "I will not live without vengeance." Yet, the truth that follows cuts even deeper. This bomb was not dropped by the capital. The rebels themselves orchestrated the explosion and cunningly pinned the blame on their enemy. A cruel lie, a twisted propaganda. Katniss's faith shatters once more. She questions everything. Are we truly fighting for victory, or are we just covering one injustice with another? Peeta, still battling his own inner demons, stands silently by her side, trying to understand and support her. But Gale, once a friend, now hardened and ruthless, grows more distant, a new kind of enemy in Katniss's eyes. She realizes the destruction of war is not just physical. It is a war against the mind, the soul, the very core of what it means to be human. Alone, she stands with silent tears falling. Yet her spirit burns bright with an unyielding promise. The fight for truth and freedom must go on. When Katniss realizes that the war is not just against the capital, but that darkness also lurks within the rebellion itself, she decides to enter the capital to assassinate President Snow. But the game of war is far from simple. A secret plan is underway by President Queen Collins, who wants to organize a new Hunger Games for the children of the capital. At first, Katniss agrees to this proposal, thinking, when the war ends, everyone will start anew under new rules. But at the final moment, standing before Snow, she suddenly turns and kills President Queen instead. Katniss understands that the true enemy is not just Snow, but the greed and sins of mankind for power, which have become the most dangerous foe of all. Snow is shocked, but unable to say anything more. In Katniss's eyes burns an unyielding fire, an unbreakable resolve. At this moment, she realizes, after the war, not only the ruler will change, but a new era will begin, where everyone must be judged by their own perspective. After the Queen's death, Katniss is captured, but she knows this war is far from over. Her struggle will continue, for truth, for freedom, and most importantly, for her own heart. After assassinating President Queen, Katniss is captured and imprisoned, alone in a dark, silent cell, each day passing in anxious wait for her judgment. Her mind swirls with endless questions. Did I truly choose the right path? What will my life be like after the war ends? Will I ever find peace, complete peace, cut off from the outside world? Yet within her burns an unyielding hope. One day she will be free, to begin a new life with new dreams. Finally, the judgment is passed, and she is released. Returning to District 12, she sees the war slowly fading away, people returning to the normal rhythms of life. Yet the storm inside Katniss has not calmed. Wounds of the past, memories of lost loved ones, shake her again and again. By her side stands Peeta, slowly helping her reclaim the memories she lost. Together, they try to walk the path toward peace. But Katniss knows the war is not only over outside. The battle still rages within her heart. For truth, for peace. Within herself, within her soul. Years pass by, and Katniss and Peeta slowly begin to piece together the fragments of their broken lives. Together, they start living peacefully in a quiet village, where the sounds of war have faded into distant memories. Among them, a family is born, where their child becomes a symbol of love and peace. Yet the memories of the past cannot be erased. Katniss carries the scars of war in her heart, scars that will never fully heal. Still, she learns that life is not just about pain. It can be filled with love, friendship, and hope. She often says, "When I remember the terrible memories, I try to find the good ones, because that is our strength to survive." Katniss and Peeta know that together, they can face anything. Their story is not just about war. It is a story of the indomitable strength of the human spirit. If you want to experience all the excitement and mystery this book has to offer, I've left a link for you in the description box below. Click it to read the complete story for yourself. And don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe to the Story Cafe for more amazing book journeys.